This election, Georgia has shifted to the center of the political universe with 2 Senate races.
The process of runoff elections may seem fairly simple, but these contests once served a racially motivated purpose. 11 Alive's Joe Hankey with more for us tonight.
While many Georgia voters may be familiar with runoff elections, they may not be familiar with the history of runoffs in Georgia and across the South. At the Georgia state capitol in the 1960s, a state representative named Denmark Groover led a charge for runoff elections. A federal report looking at civil rights in America calls Groover a staunch segregationist who pushed for runoffs in Georgia as a way to challenge growing black political power. And, quote, support for the majority vote plan reinforced the moderate segregationist position. It did not remove anyone's right to cast a ballot, but it was commonly regarded as hampering African Americans, the stigmatized bloc voters. While still allowing black voters to cast a ballot, runoffs at the time made sure candidates representing the white majority, not the interests of black citizens, would be elected.
They don't function precisely that way anymore, but one has to wonder what function they do have.
Cal Jilson is a political science professor at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. He says runoffs are linked to elections in the South, requiring a candidate to have more than 50% or a majority of votes cast to win an election.
Runoff is an opportunity for the white majority to come together and beat back a challenge from a black candidate.
Frequently, as you know.
And when lawmakers such as Groover wrote and passed laws requiring runoffs, they did not hide their intentions.
Before anyone was politically correct, people spoke very directly about their sense of race and the importance of maintaining white supremacy. And that's what these electoral rules were intended to do.
Currently, Georgia is only one of 10 states, primarily in the South, using runoffs in primaries. Only Georgia and Louisiana use them for general elections. Jilson views runoffs as outdated election law.
There's less and less reason, and really fewer and fewer states as time goes by that use runoffs.